I'm Carl Fahle. I'm the Senior Director of Technology for the San Juan Unified School District, which is in the capital region of the greater Sacramento area. And San Juan's a reasonably large district. It spans 80 square miles. We have 70 schools, 7 cities, and we serve approximately 40,000 students. This has been a big focus recently, looking at the implementation, application, and support of systems that are really designed to power student learning and teaching. And there's a lot of exciting work that we're doing in our district around that. This idea of scaffolding for platform agnostic environments, this is something I've been very excited about. And this really stems from 2 perspectives. One is my own experience as a classroom teacher and administrator many years in the district, but the other perspective about many of the roadblocks or barriers for maybe you're not so techie people in terms of getting access to the resources and systems that are available to them in the district. And we provide a lot. We've implemented a lot over the last few years, but a lot of times our users don't know about them, and if they know about them, they don't know how to get onto them. And so what I really wanted to do was find a way to make all of our resources, whether they're for business purposes or instructional purposes, very visible and easily accessible, regardless of whether you're a teacher, a student, parent, or other employee in the district. And so this idea of creating a unified portal, a single URL with a single credential to log in, username, password, that anyone would have to remember, and once authenticated, all of the resources that were relevant to you or important to you or for which you had permissions would be presented, and literally access would be a single-click pass-through, whether it's on a mobile device, a tablet, smartphone, computer, anywhere, anytime access. And so a big part of the work we've been doing over the past year was implementing a portal from a product called Web Network from a company called Stoneware. And I'll be sharing more of this at the conference tomorrow, but we have implemented and are starting to slowly roll it out to the district. And basically what we're providing is a tremendous amount of utility and visibility to the resources that are available to our entire district community. But we're doing it in a way where they're not just restricted to access of these resources when they're in the district. This has taken all these resources and made it available to anybody, anytime, anywhere, including outside the district. So before, when we had to use some complex processes for creating a virtual private network to get into some of the internal resources, all of that's gone now. So any user could literally take out their smartphone and with a quick few taps, they're into all their resources. And I think that's really what's going to begin to escalate and accelerate the use of the resources, and then we can stop focusing on the roadblocks of the technology and begin focusing on the thoughtful, effective application and utilization of those resources to do our work, whether it's for business purposes or, more importantly, for instructional purposes. The idea of data privacy, and that's a really great question, is something that I always worry about and I'm still concerned about. And the nice thing about the particular product we're using for this portal is that it has a number of ways to authenticate and protect users' access, including notifications, multi-factor authentication. You could use things like USB keys. What we've implemented is an image challenge. So every time a user logs in for the first time, they have to select a set of images, and they also have some personalized questions, much like when you sign up for a bank, that only they would know. And that sets up their account. And so every time they log in, not only do they have to know their credentials, but they also have to know the specific image to pass it through. And again, they're prompted no matter what device they're on or where they're at. Am I comfortable fully enough with that, given that literally once you're through, every resource you have is a click away? I'll be honest with you, I want more. I want more visibility into it. And one of the biggest things I want is kind of just-in-time notification. We certainly have analytics on who logged in, when, and stuff like that you can go and get. But I want the notification of access to really be pushed out, much like we do with our employee record portal. When you log in, you get an email instantly saying, you logged into the portal. The challenge with using that process with our web portal is that potentially you'd be getting, dozens and hundreds of emails a day. So we're still looking for that perfect solution for the notification of access, but we do have some other measures behind it. The user community certainly is coming to this on their own. It's something that's growing up organically, and so the timing is kind of fortuitous in that the deployment of this new system is going to give us new mechanisms for providing that greater level of security. And I'll just add to that, the portal has many nice features beyond just the single sign-on and the one-click access. And one of them is really this idea of user authenticated login notifications. So depending upon who you are, we can present communication or notification such as an AUP, which a user would have to click and it would be logged, and that would happen one time a year once they log in. But if you're a parent, when they log in, we can present them with some information or details specific to a time that they log in, a day or place or geographical location. There's lots of granularity around that. So our ability to communicate with our users in a more targeted fashion is going to be elevated beyond just doing a generic communication through a website or an email blast. The biggest rationale for pursuing something like this is really this idea of removing the roadblocks and the barriers to access. You can have tremendously powerful resources and tools available to users, but if they don't know about them, or if they know about them and can't remember how to get to them, or if they know about them and know how to get to them but can't remember how to log into them, the reality is they're not going to be utilized. And you've put a lot of work and energy in developing the system. And so this approach to this unified single sign environment really facilitates kind of a transition and a greater use and emergence of the use of the technology for your various groups. The caution obviously is you are opening up the environment in such a way that if it is logged into, it's not just a single system that's broken into, it's a number of systems. So you have to be very thoughtful about the protections, the security plan you have in place. And there are some real challenges when you're dealing with minors. With an adult, you can say, it's got to be complex, and you put in your questions and make it work. With children, especially young children, when you're dealing with an environment like mine, which is K-12, how do you have those younger learners be able to log in with complex login processes without frustration? Less on the student's part, probably more on the teacher's part in terms of getting logged in, and we know they can learn, but it's going to be a process, and so there's got to be some patience. The other advice I would say, my initial interest is always to tend on the fact that, hey, this is great. We need to give everyone this tomorrow. And fortunately, I have a great group of people I work with who say, whoa, how about we do a little scaled rollout, and we start small and we roll it out big. And so they curb my enthusiasm, and that's exactly the way we're doing it, because as we do that, we not only discover what some of the challenge or questions that might happen with that small group, we also learn if there's bugs or things that need to be tweaked within the system. So we're doing kind of the scaled rollout, and it's always a challenge between, we've got these needs over here, and we've got this great system to address it, but we don't want to just throw that fully to the wind until we're sure that it's operating efficiently. And that would be a caution, and I would imagine most of the people I'm speaking to are pretty thoughtful about doing more measured rollouts of their systems.